learning from it. But I do sometimes wonder, like, there were some comments saying, oh, the, like whatever it is, that's just, oh, whatever. I think I may have sent it to you about, Dominion. He sends these things on the fucking YouTubes or whatever, and he's making whatever cash and lots of money. And I hope Boon's getting a cut from it. Those sort of comments and stuff like that.
That is hilarious.
What is that? Maybe I don't understand what that all means, but why do you think that's on their minds?
Allow me to break down that aspect. Let me just say, you have to hit certain metrics before your channel your videos are even eligible to be monetized. And let me just say, the people who are watching this is a passion project. Let me just tell you, brother, this is a passion project, because you start getting paid when it's like 100,000 people steadily watching your videos.
Yeah.
And, you start getting paid when it's like, when your videos are getting millions of hits and hundreds of thousands of hits consistently. The videos that are on here have 130 views. Some of them have 300. Some of them have 200. But
holy shit, that's unbelievable.
No, it truly is. But to me, it speaks to the percentage. Is the way narrow, brother? You know what I mean? Is the way narrow? So if there's 8 billion people and there's 300-400 paying attention to possession, I'm just saying, where is their money in that? So for them to be saying that, it just seems like they're true, brother, for sure. I'm just breaking it down. Like, it's so absurd. It seems like it's just another one of those assumptions that they've bought into, and they're just using it to argue against their own belief system.
Because if someone's bringing up money, it's kind of like, well, what are they getting paid? Because to me, how I see it, and someone even said to me down here, why don't you go to the States and meet with your brothers over there and do a bit of a possession thing? And I go, oh, maybe in a couple of years, who knows?
That is hilarious, brother. Look, let me just say, it'd be a little bit more equipment. I have some, but let me just say, bro, we could turn it into a full. I got the lights for it, bro. We could turn it into a whole documentary.
You never know what might happen in the next couple of years. And I think, and it's kind of like this. It's like saying, oh, you got to be careful with certain individuals. This is a bit of a thing that might have said, oh, that brother, blah blah, whether it's you or whatever. He goes, oh, they can drop you like a heartbeat and fucking do this and this. They can be quite this way and quite that way. And I go, well, why don't you take a ticket? I've been what was it? Called every name under the sun, and I've been despised and disliked, and why don't you take a ticket? Get in line. To dump me like a hot potato or whatever. I mean,
that's right. Well,
it's been like that all along. What's that?
Is it even about that, brother? You know what I'm saying? Or is it about?
That's right.
Or is it about helping other brothers in, like, no matter? No matter if you and I spoke ever again, brother, you contributed to the way that I think in such a way that I think the way it changed me is what matters. I think the way it affected me, the message affects me, and the way it works its way into the way I live and breathe, I think, is what matters.
Exactly.
So whatever
a lot of these things
it's funny.
Yeah, a lot of these things, are they distractions, or they're still just an offer? And if we deal with the offer, will they keep spreading out there? And that's why I think nip these things in the bud, and rather getting up, if one's feeling a bit upset about another, we can even speak to them. So listen, how about I call you back another time when I cool down a bit? I'm a little triggered, or I'm a little upset, or whatever. And then those things that trigger you or upset you, you need to write them down, so you're thinking it, and then you're inking it, and that's what you're actually bringing in subjection. You're bringing back those. You're starting to to unravel the very things that are upsetting, that will make you upset about, say, someone who is saying certain things.
Question, brother. What about if one is never actually triggered, but the other one on the other side is looking for that type of situation, seemingly, so they just go around saying that all the time, even if one has zero trigger and one is still looking at things, considering every word and just replying. If you label a reply as being triggered, does that mean I'm triggered, or does that mean you're trying to stir some stuff up or something? I have no clue.
Look, if I was to just go by what my experience is, if I own such a thing, it's always been, either we come to the table and discuss certain things, and if there's misunderstandings, then there's obviously, to me, that's a sign of that the language or the technology that we're speaking, there's different understandings. So whenever there's an argument, it only comes back to you understanding something different to someone else. That's really all an argument is.
Sure.
It's not anything else. So either we say to the brother, says, look, you may see it that way. Today I see it this way. Maybe I'll come around and seeing it your way another time. But right now, I don't know if I can see where you're coming from. But that's okay, because is it okay if that's a perspective where someone else is coming from? Imagine it's a wheel. We're all on this wheel, and then someone on the other side of the wheel, or you're asking, rather than me telling you how your perspective is, I'm asking you, how do you see things from that perspective?
There you
go. If I'm looking out the window right now, I can't tell you, hey, what you're seeing out the window is blah, 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 blah. Because how can I possibly see for you? I don't know what you're looking at right now. You might be looking at this hot, beautiful, woman or whatever. I don't know.
That's right.
I might be looking at a river or trees or I don't even know. Do we even know what we're looking at? But if I was to perceive something, do I ask the other one, why do you see it that way? Or do I go and tell you what I think you're seeing and what you're doing? And does that even help when I'm telling you what you're fucking seeing? I mean, that's to me an arsehole.
Does that even help?
And even worse on that is when I come up with a suggestive question, like, say, could it be? I suggest you something, and then I get you to why don't you tell me about it? Why don't you make me an admission? Is that your admission? So you get to answer on the suggestion that I'm saying, and then I ask you straight back to your face, is that an admission on your behalf? In other words, I'm double fucking you,
Right.
I send you out a suggestion, you take it, and then I throw you back another question saying, is that an admission, on your behalf or something, which I see many of these examples of, and this type of questioning, it's like we once you realise that everything's just an offer, it's not for you to take possession of. And that's why everything, if you were to look at everything as an offer, you'll find you become a lot less reactive to the ones around you.
Sure. So, question, is suggestive language equal to like laying a trap, would you say?
It is, but I've tried to say that, stay with the bats and the others, whatever. I've tried to spell it out, but they use that as an example that I'm the one putting the trap there, and yet they've already brought up terminology prior to the trap. You see what I'm talking about? You've got need to look at how does the trap appear. The trap appears once there's a suggestion. Now the suggestion for you to take possession of something, and then And then after you take it, I then ask you, oh, well, that's for you to decide, or that's for you to. So everything's directed back to you. Whereas if you look in the scripture, nothing is meant to be for you. Nothing. It's all about where there are two or more. So imagine nothing is, if someone passes me a cup or a glass, right, and there's someone else in the room, it goes to my hand if I own it, if I own such a thing, then I pass it on to the other. It's not for me. Everything is for the other. And when you discover nothing's about you, but everything's about you, it's a bit like the kingdom of heaven. And if you look at that scene where the king offers the glass of water to the subjects, and then the subject passed it on to the other king, and then the king just took it. I take it for what it is, and then his head was removed from the shoulders. And there's a very important lesson there, and the lesson is that once you take something without asking, is that for me? Yeah, a simple glass of water. Oh, is that for me? You start asking very simple, subtle things. And I'll give you an example. When I said a long time ago, when I was going into court and that, the beauty of what happens down here is there's a prosecution, right? And they're always sitting next to you, and they're trying to pass on information. Like, for example, the charges. They go, here, this is this. Read this. Now, when I learned this years ago when I used to watch some of the movies, and the prosecution or the barristers would always ask the judge, "May I approach the bench, Your Honour?" And the judge goes, yeah, no worries, come up to the bench. And then they would discuss blah, blah, blah. Now, I asked this question in the court. Excuse me, Your Honour, if I may ask, and I'm asking a very loud question because I'm talking to the court. Did this man ask if he could approach me, with this information? Because he's trying to peddle. He's peddling information. He's peddling it by suggesting, right? It's like the could it be questions. And a peddler is a salesman. They're a snake oil salesman, and they're there to finger you. They're there to basically give you right up your ass and the baseball. That's what they're wanting you to do. Fist fuck you all the way to God knows where. So in other words, take it. That's the objective. Now, ever since I've asked, I don't know, down here it's like a game of chess, yeah? And we're all pawns. And when you're a pawn and you ask the question in the relevant arena, things are adjusted. The courts become adjusted. And ever since that question was asked, I went to the courts recently, and I was with the brother, and I couldn't believe the eyeballs. The prosecution, everyone in the court was even asking before they pass on the information, Your Honour, may I pass this to you? Yes, absolutely. Pass it on to me. Nobody now fucking imposes themselves through whether it's a suggestion or whether it's everything is asked. If you don't ask, you lose your fingers.
So where's the question of if the judge says, go sit down over there?
Oh, well, go sit down over there. You can ask many ways. Will it help if I do that? Are you saying that's what you need me to do? Any order is always a question. You always see, go sit down over there. Would you like me to sit down over there? Yeah? Are you asking me, is that what you'd like me to do? Sit over there. Yeah? So put everything into a question, and you'll find it changes everything. And that's where everything comes back to come as a child. May I? If I may. And that's why a lot of these questions, they're very, very simple, but extremely effective. May I? Never say can I, because you're going to be canned. No, you can't. You see, can I? No, you can't. Yeah, you can't do that. Right? So can suddenly becomes a negative by the opposite. And that's probably why I find a lot of this is another thing, if we're going to talk about, is when I think in one of the calls there, one is talking about interpretations on, say, whenever Batman talks about peace or something like that. And I said, why bring up peace? Why even talk about peace? Because I'm always looking for the opposite. You can't be talking about peace unless there's the unless there is the assumption that war is already there, or that you can't bring up one without the other. I don't know. This is a real hard concept to conceive, brothers. Is if you're talking about peace, right? Then on one hand you're talking about peace, and then on the other hand you're contradicting yourself, right? Because you're going to go straight into combat in a few moments' time with the brothers and sisters, and it just takes a scratch of a bit of a veneer. It doesn't take much. So all of a sudden you're preaching peace, but the actual the fruits of peace you're demonstrating a combat and war. Is that a head fuck for anyone or not?
I think it's beautiful.
Because as soon as you start preaching, as soon as you preach, and this is what I was saying about, man, why do you have to keep hammering this, peddling? Why are you peddling all these things that you're talking about as if you're the reminder? You have to remind all your disciples out there that everyone needs to be reminded about listening to the little voice within and being at peace and all this fucking shit. You know, it's like kumbaya kind of talk. What's the relevance of that? How does it work when you basically got the wolf up to your throat with a knife and about to cut your throat, waiting? They don't just do it. They're just waiting to hear what comes out of your mouth, and then you give them jurisdiction to do whatever they like to you, right? So that's why I keep bringing up what's the relevance of a lot of those things that are spoken about when in the practical reality of it. I'll show you how peaceful you are. I'll show you how much at war also you're at, yeah? Because you have to have an equal measure. The equal balance of the shit you're preaching is also equally balanced in war, yeah? But what do you know about either, yeah? You know, what's the difference? Is it the spelling? What do you know about peace and love and war? You know, maybe it's written on the hearts. Then demonstrate it, do it, show examples of it. Examples are the only way that and when you start asking for examples, do you think any arsehole is able to show you examples? No, they get tongue-tied, and then they start getting grumpy at you when you're asking for examples. Could you please show me? Show me where I've been making claims. Show me exactly in all the transcripts and all the examples that we're going through. Show me the claims and the statements that I'm making. Please come forward.
Oh,
and
brother.
you'll find that there's nothing. There's nothing.
Brother.
Where is it? Where is
it?
Please show me. I want to be shown because I need correction. I'm the complete fuck up here, not you.
Right.
I'm the complete fuck up. I need the correction here. That's why I'm on the call, because I'm a fuck up, right? And I need you to show me where these things that you say that I am, that I'm doing. You know, otherwise, how am I to improve? How am I to become like you? I want to become like you, fucking whatever you guys are. I want to become like you guys because you've just got it all worked out. Because I fucking, you know, fuck if I know.